Chapter 2. Mid-afternoon sun angled through the windows of my living room. Prisms of warmth danced across my skin, washing the walls in a curtain of light. As my bow slid over the strings of the cello, the deep resonance filled my body, a vibration of wood dancing with sound, the mournful notes stretching across my skin. Back and forth, my arms strained from the force of movement as the bow drew out the language that cradled me, banishing the noise within my mind and settling into the spaces beside me like a silent audience. Lost in the fluid rhythm of the strings, time stepped back from me. My limbs merged with the sleek maple, my heartbeat twining to the grooves of the neck. Embracing the body of the cello, I allowed the music to become my lover, the companion I fell against. And in these brief moments of reprieve, it was enough. A dissonant noise sliced through the notes, breaking the trance, and the bow stilled in my hand. My eyes skirted to a number flashing across the screen of my phone, and my breath caught in my throat, icy tendrils gripping at my neck. Gravity yanked me from my moment of weightlessness and pulled me back into the depths of reality. Leaning over, I turned off my phone, the blue glow fading to black. Resting my head on the curved wood of the cello, I closed my eyes, willing the world to stop spinning so fast. I was not ready to face what stood waiting on the other side. I stared blankly at my computer screen, the words blurring together into meaningless patterns. The usual flow and focus I found myself in while editing was nowhere to be found. My mind was stuck between gears, the dull weight of inertia, a crippling force. A soft knock sounded on my office door, and my boss, Stephen, poked his head in. "You got a minute, Jules?" Shooting him a wan smile, I motioned for him to come in. The scent of Old Spice trailed after him as he placed a file on my desk and took a seat across from me. "I got you those articles to take a look at for next month's publication." "Thank you." I opened the file, absently glancing through the pages. "How's the editing going on the Williams piece?" I sighed and rested my back against the chair. "Slowly." "You want me to take a look at it for you?" "No, I can handle it." "I know you can handle it, Jules." He leaned forward, a half smile edging the corner of his mouth. "Maybe I just miss those days when you used to come to me for help." The intercom on my desk phone sprang to life, and my assistant's voice cut through the space between us. "Julia, Dr. Henderson is on the line too. Do you want me to take another message?" I stiffened, gripping the edges of my desk as Stephen stood with a nod. "I'll let you take that then." The door closed softly behind him, leaving me alone with my hesitancy, and I reached out, pressing the reply button. "No, it's okay, Sylvia, I got it." Picking up the phone, I felt the familiar fatigue pulling at my limbs, the same lethargy which had been plaguing me for weeks. My pulse accelerated as I stared at the blinking light. I couldn't avoid this any longer. "Julia, this is Dr. Henderson." The soft cadence of her voice filtered through the receiver. "You haven't returned any of my calls." I fiddled with the pen on my desk, my eyes glancing at the various editorial awards lining my walls, the framed achievements that kept me company and defined so much of who I was. None of it felt real anymore, and none of it could save me. "I know, I'm sorry. I've just been really busy with work these past few days." "We discussed this at your last appointment. There was only a very small window where this treatment is going to help, and we need to start immediately." A burn gathered in my mouth, corrosive and biting as I choked on the measured words. "Yes, I understand." "Can you come in this afternoon?" A wave of panic rippled through me, and I looked down at my hands. Nail polish, once so meticulously applied, was now chipped and worn, a small detail, now glaringly insignificant. So many things in my life were beginning to take on that tone. Flimsy routines were crumbling away, leaving only the outline of substance behind. "What time?" "2?" I took a deep breath, summoning the willpower I needed right now, even though all I wanted to do was run, to hide behind the consoling veil of denial that beckoned me. "Okay, I'll be there." Before she said anything more, I hung up and pushed myself off the chair, pacing back and forth across the room in a flurry, as if movement could still the torrent of anxiety bleeding through the cracks of my facade. It was the same anxiety that yanked me from sleep during darkened hours, following me like an incessant companion, loud and always impossible to outpace. How old were you when you first started having anxiety attacks, Julia? I was 8. Was there an event that may have preceded the onset of your anxiety? I don't want to talk about it. Why not? It's pointless. Why do you feel it is pointless? Because it won't change the fact that my childhood was ugly and people have only hurt me. Is that something you truly believe? I have yet to be proven otherwise. Looking out at the skyline from my window, I took a deep breath and tried to still the racing of my heart. Fog settled low and heavy, like an ominous shroud obscuring the city below. This view always seemed to anchor me, as if I were above the world and it couldn't touch me. All my life I tried to be untouchable, but in the end, it was my own body that betrayed me. I sat awkwardly on the edge of the cushioned seat of the waiting room, my fingernails digging into the palms of my hands as I awaited the arrival of Dr. Henderson. I gazed out the window to the Space Needle, which towered above the city center like a sentinel, piercing through the marine layer. In the background, soft classical music drifted through the speakers, and a vase of flowers sat on the table beside me, its cloying scent infusing the room, making me feel like a ghost at my own funeral. The rancorous taste of bile rose in my throat as I realized I probably wouldn't even have a funeral. Who would show up besides Stephen? My coworkers? A handful of people who barely knew me beyond the surface? Had my entire life been reduced to nothing but an obituary? Dry words on a page, highlighting my accomplishments like death's resume. Julia? A voice jarred me from the heaviness of my thoughts, and I looked up to see Dr. Henderson standing in the hallway. Please, come with me, she said, sweeping her hand toward her open office door. With shaky legs, my body involuntarily stood and followed behind her, like a marionette bound to the strings of a performance I was forced to play out. She sat across from me at her desk, gaze solemn. Thank you for coming in today. I want to go over the procedure with you, and then we can schedule a time to start protein therapy sessions. She paused for a moment, glancing at my file on the computer screen. I feel this is the best course of action, considering the location of the tumor and the difficulty in removing it. This targeted radiation will hopefully slow the growth and give you some more time, all the while eliminating the side effects of traditional chemotherapy. Her words receded, growing muffled, as I recalled the last time I had sat across from her. The glowing screen in front of us holding my test results like a bomb waiting to be uncovered. How my body slowly detached as she opened her mouth, spilling shrapnel across the room, the walls rippling as if some unseen force had abruptly halted the rules of physics. Solid matter turning to liquid, life folding in on itself. Numb, that's what I had been. That's what I had always been, impassively navigating through my life like a habit I could not define. A deep, dreamless sleep I stumbled through, and I suddenly wanted to wake up. I tried to respond, but all that came out of me was a long exhale. My eyes skimmed her shelves and landed on a photo of her and a child, a tiny piece of her life tucked between her files and reference books, a tangible artifact of her existence, while mine trembled beside me, undefined and already fading. Now, please keep in mind that there is a limit on how many people can accompany you to your sessions. I pulled myself back to her composed gaze and shook my head. That won't be an issue. It'll just be me. She nodded and bent down to open a bottom drawer, sliding the brochure across the desk. I know this is a lot for you to take in right now, and it's really important to have people in your life who can provide support. Her finger tapped the folded paper in front of me. This is a great support group. I think it would really benefit you. My hand brushed across the glossy brochure, depicting two men with wide smiles, their arms draped across each other's shoulders. They looked happy, and I wondered if these people in the picture even had cancer, or was it only a stock photo that came up when you typed in the keywords friendship, closeness, family, words I didn't have in my life. Dr. Henderson leaned across the desk. Statistics show having a support group in place greatly increases the outcome in patients. I furrowed my brow, choking back the tears that once again threatened my composure, and quickly slipped the pamphlet into my purse. When do we start? Bathed in the harsh glare of the clinic's overhead bathroom light, my reflection stared back at me, dark features and crimson lipstick against a starched white hospital gown. The days since the appointment with my doctor had been spent in a state of restless detachment. skirting the boundaries of a life that no longer felt like mine. I had become only a tenant housed in a body that would soon evict me. Taking a shaky breath, I reached up to smooth back my long strands of hair, securing them tightly in place with a clip. Even now, with the unrelenting grip of my illness keeping vigil, my vanity sighed in relief. I wasn't going to lose my hair. I clung to this fact with a desperate sense of pride. It was all I had left. The technician led me into a white room where a large oval machine stood in the center, the interior emitting a cool blue glow. Positioning myself on the table, I lay back, my eyes fixed on the bright emptiness of the ceiling as she applied the cast around my chest that had been fitted for me the day before, and pushed a button, sliding the table forward. Now I need to lie as still as possible, the woman spoke in a soft tone, gently adjusting my body beneath the cast. She looked young, with unblemished skin and blonde hair tied up in a bouncy ponytail that swayed with her movements. The procedure will take roughly 15 to 20 minutes. Are you ready? I nodded as she disappeared from my view, leaving behind the sound of a closing door. The room dimmed and the blue light intensified above me as a steady hum filled the air. Closing my eyes, I tried to wash out my thoughts, not wanting to focus on the tiny beams of radiation that were now piercing through the delicate fibers of my chest. A war raged within me, and I had no weapons, only a battered shield that could buy me more time. But what was the use of time? What was I fighting for? Beyond my career, my life was a barren landscape, a desperate plea to a vacant room. All I had was the persistent whisper of survival, a tiny bud pressing through the weight of the earth, searching for a sliver of light. The minutes passed by in slow, agonizing breaths as my body itched to move and a dull pain settled in my lower back. My heart pounded out a steady rhythm of blood against veins and bone, and I felt like screaming. Now you're going to have some fatigue for the next few hours, so I suggest you take it easy and rest, the technician said as she walked me over to the reception counter, where a woman slid an appointment card to me. We will see you for your second session the day after tomorrow. I nodded blankly, pushing through the double doors and out into the hazy, sunlit parking lot, my shiny red sports car standing out like a flame among all the gray and black sedans. Across the street lay a cemetery, rows of gravestones lining the manicured green like a cruel, ironic joke, and I skirted my eyes away, unable to look at the foreboding reminder of my own impermanence. The rush of cars drowned out the noise of my mind, which tumbled around like loose stones with no direction. I could already feel the ache in my body creeping over me. I had grown accustomed to fatigue these days, but this was a weakness that tugged at me, demanding attention, and I wondered if I should have called an Uber to take me home. Navigating my car through the streets and into the current of the Bay Freeway, I flipped through the radio stations, trying to distract myself from this new reality that had taken me hostage, claiming me. 42 years old, and all I had to show for it was an executive office and a penthouse apartment on Capitol Hill, a cage full of lonely artifacts. What is your definition of success, Julia? I don't know, I guess wealth, accomplishment, the freedom to carve out my own life without having to answer to anybody else. And what about happiness? Does that factor into what success looks like for you? Happiness is such a vague and subjective term. It never sticks around. You can't control when life's going to knock you down, but you can control your attachment to the outcome. And what does that mean for you exactly? It means that if you aren't looking for something, you'll never be disappointed when it doesn't come. I somehow made it home and into my apartment, where I shed my clothes, legs trembling as I collapsed on the bed. Gripping my pillow, I willed my mind to release itself to sleep. Though every muscle in my body was stripped and weary, my thoughts commanded attention, clinging like a harsh, sticky residue I was unable to wash away. It was in moments like these I wished I had a pet, something warm and breathing to curl into. How had I managed to push everything I could lose in my life so far away that I couldn't even remember what it felt like to hold something? And I suddenly wanted to hold something. I wanted to feel another heartbeat against my skin, the gentle rhythm of existence reminding me I was still here, that my own heart was still beating.